we have British Culture Secretary Lisa Nandandy, who told CNN this week that they aren't so sure over in the UK that they should approve this big, Paramount, Warner, Discovery, all that merger, because we're pretty sure in the UK that destroys all competition and is essentially, get this, a monopoly. However, being British, she said it far more eloquently than I just put it. Lisa Nandandy said, quote, "Following engagement with the parties and independent research, my department has today written to the current and proposed owners of Warner Brothers Discovery on my behalf to inform them that I am minded to intervene." Now, that may be probably the most British statement I've ever had to read. Because again, it's very eloquent, it's very proper, there's a lot of unnecessary words like, "I am disinclined to acquiesce to your request." But basically what she's saying is, all right, listen up, Warner Brothers Discovery and Paramount. This ain't cool. You're about to kill all the competition, right? This is an illegal monopoly by every possible way. You better submit to me within the next 3 days is how long they had to respond, why I should not open a formal investigation into this crap, because I gotta tell you, I am inclined to do that. Again, far more eloquent than I was able to say it. But the US didn't do that, right? Because Paramount is owned by the Ellisons, which Donald Trump donors, good friends with him. So yes, you can gobble up all of the media in our country. We don't care. Here's CBS, here's Warner Brothers, here's Discovery, throw in some HBO there too. Hell, you want a couple of radio stations out in the Midwest? Take those as well. Why not? Let's just have it all owned by one single person, because there's no way that's going to go badly for consumers. And meanwhile, the UK is like, whoa, hold the hell up. Yeah, this doesn't seem right at all. Problem is, this shouldn't have had to happen in the UK at all. It should have been stopped here in the United States. We have entire governmental departments that deal with only this type of thing. There is an entire department at the Department of Justice that is supposed to stop shit like this. They didn't do anything at all. They didn't even bother to look at it or think for a second, maybe this is an illegal monopoly, we shouldn't do it. But we're no longer the monopoly busting country. 100 years ago, a little over 100 years ago, that's what we were doing, right? We had industries getting too big. They went in and they broke up Hollywood, right? Movie theaters used to be owned by the movie studios, and they would only show the movies that their studio made or that the actors they owned, because that's how it worked back then. Only the actors we own can be showed on the screens that we own. It was a monopoly. So the government came in and said, hey, you're done. We had monopolies in steel. We had monopolies in oil. And the government did its job for decades, going in, breaking up these companies. Well, we've been breaking up countries too, but breaking up these companies, creating competition, helping consumers. Competition benefits consumers and lowers your prices for the most part. Those days are gone. We have the exact opposite now in the United States, where the government says, oh, you guys want to join together? What can we do to help? Right? How can we make this go faster? Do you want us to ignore all the regulatory burdens that we're supposed to put on you? Done. Because you gave me a lot of money and I'll remember that forever. So we as consumers continue to get screwed because our government has done a complete 180 of what they used to do with these companies 100 years ago. So at least over in the UK, they might put the brakes on this. And by the way, if the deal is not closed by the end of the third quarter of this year, which an investigation in Britain would, of course, cause it to be stalled, but if it does not close by the end of this year, then Paramount will have to pay an additional $627 million every 3 months that the deal is not finished. So Lisa Nandandy, I encourage you, open an investigation, and you know what? Take your time with it. There's no rush at all. I want to take a moment to tell you about a wonderful new book that is out, Be Like Trump by John Evans. And yes, I wrote the afterword for this book. Now, Be Like Trump is a wonderful little story that essentially puts things into a better perspective for Americans. Whether you love Trump, whether you hate Trump, it doesn't matter. This book takes real things Donald Trump has done and shows people what it would be like if Trump had done those horrible things to them personally. Would that change your opinion of him? And that is what a lot of MAGA does need to realize. This book is not an attack on Trump. It is putting his actions into a better perspective for the public. And it also does so in a humorous way, which I absolutely love. The book is available on Amazon. Of course, we will have a link in the description of our video, so follow that, check it out. It's available both in paperback and Kindle edition. This is a must-read for anyone who, one, may have forgotten some of the horrible things that Donald Trump has done over the years, and two, for anyone who thinks to themselves, yeah, he's done horrible things, but he's this far-off figure, and those things really don't affect me. Read the book, and then tell me after that if you don't think these things affect you.